Does it make sense to move a workload to the cloud? Find out how next. SDR News coverage of AWS reInvent made possible by Dome 9. Total control and visibility over your cloud infrastructure, network, and host security. Garantia, the in-memory NoSQL company, offering enterprise-class Redis for developers. Encapsula, website security, always-on protection from bots and DDoS and real-time stats on visitors and threats. Skillbase, leveraging MySQL and scaling out data at the speed of your business. And eMind, architecting, building, and operating enterprise-grade clouds in billion-dollar HIPAA, PCI DSS, and SOX environments. More coverage of AWS reInvent online or on the SDR News Roku channel.
So hi everyone, we are here at the AWS reInvent floor, the second day of the show. I'm on demand, my name is Ophir, together with me SDR News, and here we are with
Matt Gerber, Executive Vice President for Sales and Marketing for SecondWatch.
So it's SecondWatch, and we're talking about the enterprise-grade solution of SecondWatch, or the enterprise-grade challenge that today enterprises faces. And can you count maybe the most major challenges that you see in the market?
Absolutely. When you look at enterprise adoption of cloud, you look at it as a journey. And we really see three distinct challenges that enterprises face when they're stepping through that journey. The first challenge is whether or not it makes economic sense to actually move a workload in. This may be their first look at it. And we obviously have skills and resources that can help them make that determination. The second challenge then is once they've made the determination to move a workload or move the entire data center, how do they actually do that? And they need a very different set of skills than the traditional enterprise IT shop has. So we also have skills, people, resources that help them do that. And then the third challenge, which we find is the most interesting, is once they've moved a workload into AWS, how do they do things like govern it? How do they manage it? How do they monitor it? How do they optimize it? Not a lot of skill sets out there in the enterprise IT shops to do that. And so we also have products and services that help them to do that.
I understand. So basically we're talking about validation of the cloud, which is always come up right, because the cost is the cost, and the changes and the evolution of going to the cloud just makes sense, no?
Absolutely. And one of the things we've seen, and we've really distinctly seen this in the last 6 months, is from the enterprise's perspective, the view of it has moved from it's something for test dev, it's something for data storage, to we really feel comfortable with moving a production workload into AWS. And so we've seen major Fortune 500 companies that we're working with today that are moving significant production workloads into AWS.
Important things for the guys, from the other side of the room. Listen carefully what is being said here about the enterprise going to the cloud. So there also, you talked about the notion of the gap of skills. Is it not something that we see that it's actually also taking a step forward?
Yes, and I think one of the things that a lot of folks trying to sell into this marketplace don't realize is enterprises aren't quite yet positioned to consume a lot of these services because they're still structured in very traditional ways. You have groups within enterprise IT that is responsible for buying hardware, for buying disk, for buying storage, for buying CPU. And when a CIO says, I want to move my 50 web properties into AWS, it's that same group of people that he or she tasks with doing that. And so very often we have to step in and provide much higher level guidance to those folks in terms of what's the strategy for implementing this? How do you play together? What do we look at from a technology and project management perspective? And really facilitate the consumption of moving that platform or workload.
So so this is the one part that I know about SecondWatch. I already know that, and thank you for clarifying that to our audience. There is another thing that is more, from my perspective, is very, very interesting when we're talking about the Atlas. Second W Atlas?
Yes.
Can you elaborate more and tell the audience what it's all about?
Absolutely. We're really excited about the launch of SecondWatch Atlas, which we did at the reInvent show on Tuesday. This is a product, it's the first of its kind that allows you to do three things that our enterprise customers are really asking for with their AWS deployment. The first is it provides a governance and management framework within which you can build and deploy cloud architectures. And it's also tied into CloudTrail, so it monitors what your AWS deployments are doing within that framework. The second thing it does is it lets you visualize your deployments. If you've ever looked at something like a CloudFormation script, you know it's a lot of lines of code, and it's not easy if you've got 15 or 20 deployments to see what that deployment is doing. You got to dig into CloudFormation script. And so Atlas lets you visualize a deployment so you can easily see what that deployment is doing. And then the third thing it does is, and we've seen a lot of this from a pain point standpoint in our enterprise customers, it allows you to estimate and manage costs at a very discrete level. So with Atlas, you can look at what does a platform cost me to deploy, what's a department cost me to deploy, what's a division, or what does Asia and Europe and the US cost me to deploy and run. And not only can you then get visibility on what those costs are, you can then do what all enterprise CIOs want to do, charge those back to the people that are consuming those resources.
So I saw the product, and as a blogger, and I know what's going on right now. This is something that you want to check. Okay, I'm not saying it all the time. In this case, I will say you want to check it, and I will tell you where to go. Secondwatch.com and search for this second W Atlas, right?
Absolutely.
And make sure to see how it's visualizing the CloudFormation script. Very interesting stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.